Let me start this video by saying that this lens right here is simply too good. I've spent thousands on expensive photo lenses in the past, and I have to say that this by far is one of my favorite vintage 50mm lenses for the price, and also probably one of my favorite that I've ever used. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this lens and see what it's all about. Now, a large majority of videographers and photographers that have used this lens can swear by how good this thing performs. This is the 7-element super multi-coated Takumar 50mm f1.4. It was in production around 1971 to 1972. I bought this lens for a truly fair price of around 110 Australian dollars, and I have to say this alongside the Helios 44-2 is a definite keeper. Now, in the past week I've been quite busy, but I've tested this lens out on the 5D Mark II, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera, and the Canon EOS M with Magic Lantern RAW. The super multi-coated Takumar, much like its siblings, is made of full metal, and that's just the way I like it. It feels really well made, just like the Helios 44-2. You know, you drop this thing, it's still gonna hold its form. The build quality of this thing is exceptional, and as most point out, it's built like a tank. It weighs just 250 grams, and so if you're putting it alongside a small camera, it's gonna have a really nice counterbalance. Looking at the features, this lens has 8 blades in total with 7 elements in 6 groups, a minimum focus distance of 0.5 meters, a 49mm filter thread, and let's not forget, a fast aperture of f1.4 for you low light freaks out there. Now, looking at the back of this thing, it supports an M42 mount, and it's just an easy basic screw mount, no pins, nothing to do with locking mechanisms and stuff. What you need is an M42 to whatever camera you're using. I'm using a Canon EF mount camera, and so I've got an M42 to EF adapter, and all you do is just screw it on the top. That's what I love about M42 lenses. It's so simple, so basic, and you can adapt these to a range of different cameras out there. Alright, so now for the photo samples and the video samples. Last week I took this camera out and I put it to its test, and I can safely say that I was in no way disappointed with this little thing. The photos from this lens absolutely blew me away with both the rich colors, the background blur, the micro contrast, and the tack sharp image quality. Even wide open, I was able to pull off really sharp images. You know, you don't get that blooming or glow effect that you get with a lot of, you know, f1.4 fast aperture lenses, which tend to bloom, especially wide open. So super multi-coated Takumar 51.4 has not disappointed. Alright, so now looking at the video performance, and well, what can I say? Everything that this lens delivers for the price is truly amazing. Here's some shots from the Blackmagic Pocket 6K camera. The lens, pretty much like the Helios, has a filmic look to it. You could easily shoot a feature film or a movie with a set of these Takumar lenses. Again, shooting wide open, the results were superb, and I didn't notice any softness or glow. Stopping down the aperture also produces amazing, crisp results. It is a 50mm lens that has, you know, no optical stabilization, and so if you're gonna put it on a crop sensor camera, you're getting around, you know, a 75 to 80mm field of view equivalent, and so you will come across or experience some jitteriness or shakiness in your footage. Now over to the Canon 5D Mark II and the Canon EOS M with Magic Lantern RAW. This lens really shines with a vintage retro look. The colors and the subject pop thanks to the multi-coated glass. I love the colors and the look of Canon cameras, and the Takumar lens seems to be an exceptional pair if you want to take your cinematic image to another level without having to spend thousands of dollars. Now this lens is known to have radioactivity, you know, thorium glass, and you can see it by the yellowing. Not sure if you can see it there, but you can see like that yellow glass, and that tends to sort of not degrade but change the white balance if you must of your camera. You know, most of your footage will come out yellow because of the thorium in the glass. But a few people have treated this through UV rays and lights and stuff like that, and I'll probably get around to doing that as well. But as for the radioactivity, don't be too stressed, it's fine. You know, I finished with the lens, I put it away in a tub. What I did with all the footage that I shot, I just changed my white balance during the day from 5600 Kelvin to 4600 Kelvin, and everything was fine. Alright guys, so I've got my Blackmagic Pocket 6K here. I've also got my EOS M as well, and I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse of what you would expect to see in terms of the field of view behind the camera. So let's turn this thing on and I'll show you. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like with my Blackmagic Pocket 6K, and look at that. I mean, the field of view is quite cropped. I'm shooting 6K RAW or B RAW with constant quality. And this is the field of view you're getting with this lens. So, you know, it's quite tight for APS-C cameras or Super 35, but for full frame it'll be fine. However, I like this compressed look. I like the way that this thing shoots and the way it looks. Absolutely love the look of the Takumar 51.4. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Canon EOS M now. All right, so now this is the EOS M, and this is what it looks like with the Canon EOS M. It's a bit less tight than the Blackmagic Pocket. That's because I've got a speed booster on this thing, and that widens the field of view, and this is why I love using speed boosters. So if I had to shoot out in the field, this is how I'd be holding it. You know, I'd be with the neck strap, and you can see that there's less jitter thanks to the neck strap where I'm creating tension, and you can just pan around, stabilizing post. All right, so now my final thoughts on the super multi-coated Takumar 50mm f1.4. Well, what can I say? I've used the Canon FD 51.4, I've used the Nikkor, I've used Zeiss, I've used a whole range of different lenses, Sigma Art 51.4. I have to say that I was really surprised when I first got this lens in, and looking at the sharpness and the detail. The character that you get out of this lens really can't be replicated with other lenses. And so if you like the look that you get out of this lens, if it intrigues you or interests you, then that would be worth purchasing this lens. From what I can say is that it does deliver a cinematic look. It does give you that filmic, you know, Hollywood style look. It does excel in sharpness, even wide open. And so, you know, for the price, the build quality, the focus, operation, all this stuff are really worth it for the price, in my opinion. On the downside of using this on an APS-C camera, like I was with the Blackmagic Super 35 sensor, what I noticed was that you do get a lot of jittering and shakiness in the footage, but I just use post-stabilization and stuff like that. You do get equivalent field of view of around 80mm, and so if you like that look, then absolutely go for it. But just a heads up, your subject might look a bit tight in the frame, and so this thing would be a bit more beneficial for full frame users. But all in all, I can say that I've enjoyed both my experiences shooting on APS-C, on the Canon EOS M and the Pocket 6K, as well as the full frame 5D Mark II. It's an M42 mount lens, and so it's really easy to adapt. There's a whole range of different Takumar lenses you can also get, like the 28mm f3.5 or the 35mm f2, and you're gonna get a really nice cinematic package. Now just a quick one before I go, is that there is a non-multi-coated Takumar, and these sell for cheaper. I've used them as well in the past on my Canon 6D, and I can say that personally I think the super multi-coated Takumar is the way to go. The fact that this is multi-coated means that you're gonna get less flaring, and so, you know, if you want less flares in your image, then obviously go for this thing and you get tack sharp images. But if you want to save the price and go for the non-multi-coated, then absolutely go for it. Just maybe use a lens hood or something like that. So all in all, the super multi-coated Takumar 50mm f1.4 has my vote, alongside the Helios 44-2, which I've also reviewed. I wouldn't pick one over the other. I think they're different. They have different characters, different colors, and so I think they're both great to collect in your collector's bag. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video very shortly. See ya.